The alien
This
princess
is your
declared,
last
"I'll never
chance.
accept a human as my mate,
Do
father."
not test my patience.
Captain Elias Kane stood at the bridge, arms crossed, watching the distant blue-green planet slowly rotate beneath the ship's sensors. This was Vierlia, the homeworld of the Vierlian species, an alien race known for its advanced technology, proud culture, and strict traditions. Humanity's first contact with them was not just a diplomatic mission, it was a test of everything humans were capable of. "Captain Kane," Lieutenant Mara Singh said, breaking the quiet hum of the bridge, "we're entering orbit. Sensors indicate that the Vierlian fleet is waiting." "They're large and heavily armed." Kane didn't flinch. "Good," he replied calmly. "We want them to take us seriously. Humanity didn't come this far to be ignored." Mara glanced at him, a flicker of doubt in her eyes. Humans had advanced quickly, but the Vierlians were centuries ahead in both technology and experience. Any mistake could end badly, but Kane's confidence was infectious. The aurora descended through Vierlia's atmosphere, the alien capital city coming into view. Towering crystal spires reflected the planet's twin suns, creating a glittering spectacle. Ships of every shape and size hovered above the capital, and Kane could see the palace, an enormous structure of shining silver and gold, surrounded by gardens that seemed impossibly alive, with plants that moved and glowed. A voice came over the ship's intercom. "Captain, the Vierlian envoy is requesting our immediate arrival at the palace." Kane nodded. "Set a course. Let's meet them with our heads held high." The shuttle landed on a landing platform that seemed too perfect for the human eyes to comprehend. As the doors opened, a group of Vierlian officials waited. They were tall and elegant, with pale blue skin and large, luminous eyes. Their uniforms gleamed, and each movement was precise, almost like a dance. "Greetings," Kane said, stepping forward with a steady voice. "I am Captain Elias Kane of the United Earth Federation. We come in peace and with hopes of mutual understanding." The Vierlians regarded him silently for a moment. Then, a voice, melodic yet firm, spoke. "I am Princess Liara, heir to the throne of Vierlia. My father, High King Viral, will receive you." Liara's presence was commanding. She stood taller than any human Kane had met, her hair a cascade of silver that seemed to shimmer with light. Her eyes, the color of a clear ice lake, looked at him with curiosity, but also unmistakable disdain. Kane noticed it immediately. "You are humans," she said slowly, each word deliberate. "And yet you dare to enter the halls of Vierlia as if you belong. Tell me, Captain Kane, why should we trust your kind?" Kane took a deep breath. "Because we have survived where others might have failed. Because we learn, adapt, and work together. Because unlike some, we do not underestimate the universe or its people." Her lips curved into a faint smile, though her eyes remained cold. "Bold words. Let us see if they are true." The shuttle doors opened to reveal the palace interior, a vast hall filled with crystal light. Vierlian nobles moved gracefully, their conversations like music. Kane felt slightly out of place among beings who seemed both beautiful and untouchable. Yet, he held his posture, remembering the countless training sessions and diplomatic lessons he had endured for this moment. "Father," Liara said, addressing a tall figure at the end of the hall. High King Viral's presence was overwhelming, and his golden eyes seemed to look right through Kane. "These humans claim to seek alliance. What say you?" The king's gaze shifted to Kane, and Kane could feel the weight of centuries in those eyes. "Humans are young," the king said, his voice deep and resonant. "Impulsive, fragile, yet they survive. That alone is worth observing." Liara stepped forward. "They are fragile. I will never accept a human as my mate. That is my decision." The words struck Kane more than he expected. It was not just a personal rejection, it was a declaration of superiority. But Kane remained calm. "Princess Liara," he said, "we do not seek to challenge your traditions. We only wish to prove that humans can stand as equals in this universe." The princess' gaze sharpened. "Words are easy, Captain. Action is harder." Kane nodded, understanding the unspoken challenge. Humanity had arrived in Vierlia's world not just to speak, but to act. Over the next few hours, Kane and his team were led through the palace. Every room was a marvel of alien technology. Walls that could change color and texture, floors that felt alive beneath their feet, and devices that seemed to anticipate one's thoughts. Kane noted every detail, mentally comparing it with human technology, noting areas where humans could innovate. Despite the wonder, Liara remained distant, her expression cool and unreadable. Kane tried to engage her in conversation, but she responded with short, precise statements, never letting him see her true thoughts. Later, Kane was taken to a grand dining hall. Virealian food was unlike anything on Earth, bioluminescent fruits, shimmering liquids, and textures that seemed impossible to chew. Kane sampled each with careful politeness, aware that any sign of disgust could be seen as an insult. "Do humans always eat so noisily?" Liara asked, her tone teasing yet sharp. Kane smiled. "Only when they are nervous." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Then you must be very brave to sit here, surrounded by our people." "I am brave because I must be," Kane replied. "Our survival depends on facing what we fear most." Liara looked at him longer than expected, perhaps considering his words. Then she turned away, clearly unwilling to give him the satisfaction of acknowledgement. That night, Kane walked the palace gardens alone. The alien plants emitted soft lights, and the air carried scents both strange and intoxicating. He paused at a fountain shaped like a twisting spiral of crystal, reflecting the stars above. "You think humans are fragile," a voice said from behind him. Kane turned to see Liara approaching. She did not smile, but her voice held something softer than before. "Yet here you are, walking among gods and stars as if you belong." "I belong wherever I stand," Kane replied simply. "Not because I am the strongest or the smartest, but because I refuse to give up." Liara studied him silently. For the first time, Kane thought he saw curiosity in her eyes, a flicker of interest buried beneath centuries of pride and skepticism. "Do you truly believe humans can survive in this universe?" she asked quietly. Kane's eyes met hers. "Not just survive, we can thrive, and perhaps we can teach others what it means to fight for something greater than themselves." The princess said nothing more, turning back toward the palace. Kane watched her go, feeling the weight of the journey ahead. Humanity had arrived on Virelia not just to negotiate, but to prove itself worthy of respect, and perhaps, over time, to change the mind of a princess who refused to see humans as equals. As the twin suns of Virelia set, casting long shadows over the palace spires, Kane knew this was only the beginning. The real challenge, the one that would define humanity's place in the stars, was yet to come. And somewhere deep in the palace, Princess Liara watched him, thinking that humans were perhaps not as fragile as she had once believed. The twin suns of Virelia had barely risen when an urgent alarm echoed through the palace. Captain Elias Kane was still in the guest quarters, reviewing notes on Virelian technology, when Lieutenant Mara Singh appeared, her face pale. "Captain Kane, you need to come quickly." The sensors just detected a massive object heading straight for the capital, an asteroid larger than anything in Virelia's defense grid. Kane grabbed his communicator. "On my way, keep the Aurora ready to assist." The shuttle ride to the capital was tense. From above, Kane could see the asteroid, a dark, jagged mass moving at incredible speed. The Virelian fleet had already deployed their shields and interception systems, but the asteroid split into fragments unexpectedly, making defense coordination difficult. Liara met Kane as he arrived. Her usual composure was shaken, concern flickered across her face. "Captain Kane," she said sharply, "our systems are struggling. We cannot stop it in time. If it strikes the city, millions could die." Kane stepped closer, examining the readings on a Virelian display panel. "Your technology is advanced," he said, "but you're using conventional methods. You're reacting instead of adapting. Let me try something different." Liara's eyes narrowed. "You think humans can solve what centuries of Virelian knowledge cannot?" "I don't just think it," Kane said calmly. "We act." Kane immediately began directing human engineers alongside Virelian operators. They formed an emergency response plan that combined human improvisation with Virelian technology. While Virelians calculated precise trajectories, humans suggested flexible solutions, redirecting smaller fragments first to reduce the asteroid's mass, using magnetically charged drones to nudge pieces off course, and even creating controlled explosions at safe distances to alter paths. Liara watched from the command balcony, skeptical but unwilling to interrupt. Kane moved with quiet authority, his voice firm but patient as he coordinated teams who barely spoke the same technical language. Minutes felt like hours. Fragments of the asteroid hurtled toward the city, glowing red-hot against Virelia's blue skies. Warning sirens blared, and citizens were evacuated with lightning speed. guided by automated systems and human instructions. Kane noticed Virelian operators panicking slightly when the asteroid split further, but the humans adapted instantly, calculating new intercept paths on the fly. "Captain Kane," shouted a Virelian officer, "a fragment is too large, shields may not hold." Kane's mind raced. He analyzed the asteroid's trajectory and the limited response time. "Use the energy pulses from your orbital satellites," he instructed. "Focus them sequentially, not all at once. Push the fragment's path slightly to the side. It will not destroy the city if we act quickly." The Virelian officers hesitated, clearly unsure of this human suggestion. Liara's gaze was fixed on Kane, her expression unreadable. "Do it," she finally commanded. A tense silence followed as the satellites activated. Energy beams lanced out, striking the asteroid fragment. The massive rock shuddered, then shifted its course just enough to miss the city by mere kilometers. Kane held his breath, calculating backup plans in case it failed. One by one, the remaining fragments were dealt with using a combination of Virelian precision and human creativity. By the time the last piece fell harmlessly into the ocean outside the capital, Kane and his team were drenched in sweat, but alive. The city below was safe, and the citizens cheered, though they did not fully understand why. Liara descended to the control room, her silver hair catching the sunlight. She studied Kane with a mixture of awe and disbelief. You saved them," she said, voice quieter than usual. "I did not think humans could do what Virelian technology alone could not." Kane shook his head. "It wasn't just the technology, it was teamwork, creativity, and quick thinking. Humans survive by adapting when no solution seems possible." The princess looked away for a moment, conflicted. "You may have saved lives today, but that does not mean I will accept a human as my mate." Kane smiled faintly, though his eyes were serious. "I never asked for that. Respect and trust are the first steps. The rest comes later." As the city celebrated below, the Virelian royal court held a private meeting to discuss the unexpected human ingenuity. Liara's father, High King Virel, was deep in thought. "These humans, perhaps we have underestimated them," he said. "They think differently, act differently, and survive where others fail. That is impressive." Liara remained silent, though her mind wrestled with a new realization. Humans were not weak or fragile. They were different, unpredictable in ways that could be dangerous and remarkable. Kane spent the night coordinating repairs to the city's infrastructure. Bridges, transportation grids, and communication towers had been damaged by the asteroid fragments. While Virelians relied on automated reconstruction systems, Kane's team worked tirelessly to optimize the repairs, showing methods that increased efficiency while reducing risk. Mara Singh approached him quietly. "Captain, I think we made a real impression. Even the princess, she looked at you differently tonight." Kane didn't respond immediately. He stared at the city lights reflecting in the calm ocean. "We proved we can survive," he said finally. "Now we need to show that we can thrive." The next day, Kane was invited to speak at a gathering of Virelian scholars and military leaders. The topic: human strategy and ingenuity. Using simple explanations, he demonstrated how humans solved complex problems by combining logic, creativity, and courage. Many Virelians were skeptical at first, but by the end of the session, their expressions had shifted from doubt to curiosity, and some even to admiration. Liara was present, seated at the back of the hall. She listened carefully, noting Kane's calm confidence and the way humans approached problems differently from her people. She did not smile, but her eyes betrayed a growing respect she could not deny. Afterward, as the gathering dispersed, Liara approached Kane. "Captain," she said quietly, "today your people showed courage and intelligence, but one success does not make a lifetime of trust." Kane nodded. "I understand. One day we hope to earn your trust fully. Not through words, but through action, just as today." Liara studied him for a moment longer, then turned and walked away. Kane knew this was only the beginning. Humans had survived the asteroid threat, but earning the respect of Virelia and its princess would require far more. Over the following weeks, Kane and his team continued to assist the Virelians. They helped optimize energy grids, suggested improvements to transportation systems, and trained Virelian engineers in methods that emphasized teamwork and flexibility. Everywhere Kane went, humans left small marks of their ingenuity, subtle but effective. Liara observed silently, often following the team from a distance. She noted how humans worked under pressure, how they adapted to unexpected challenges, and how they never gave up, even when faced with technology far beyond their understanding. She could not deny that there was a strength in their resilience, a quality her people had long overlooked. One evening, as Kane walked the palace gardens, he found Liara waiting by the crystal fountain. "Captain Kane," she said, her tone softer than usual, "I admit you have proven something today. Humans are not as weak as I believed. Perhaps there is more to your kind than I imagined." Kane looked at her, sensing a rare moment of openness. "Thank you, Princess Liara. Respect is earned, not demanded, and we will continue to earn it every day we are here." She studied him silently. For a moment, Kane thought he saw a flicker of curiosity, perhaps even hope, behind her cool demeanor. "Very well," she said finally. "But remember, trust is not given lightly. You have much more to prove." Kane nodded. "We will. Humanity always strives to rise to the challenge, no matter how impossible it seems." As the sun set once more over Violia, casting golden light across the palace spires and gardens, Kane knew the path ahead would be long and difficult. But humanity had shown its first strength, the ability to face the impossible, adapt, and survive. And in doing so, they had planted the seeds of respect in the heart of a princess who had once declared them unworthy. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers and wonders, but Kane felt certain of one thing. Humans were ready to rise, no matter what the universe threw at them. The day dawned over Violia with a sky painted in soft blues and pinks. Captain Elias Kane stood in the palace courtyard, reviewing plans with Lieutenant Mara Singh and a small team of human engineers. Their recent success with the asteroid had earned them respect among the Violian officials, but Kane knew that winning the trust of Princess Liara would be far more difficult. Liara approached silently, her silver hair flowing in the morning breeze. She stopped a few paces away, her piercing eyes fixed on Kane. "Captain Kane," she said, her tone calm but commanding, "I have decided. If humans truly wish to prove themselves, you must face the Violian trials. Only then can your species earn my respect and that of my people." Kane straightened. "Trials?" he asked, curious but careful. Liara's lips pressed into a thin line. "Yes, trials designed to test intelligence, courage, and understanding of our ways. You will not succeed through force alone. You must think, adapt, and respect our traditions." "Do you accept?" Kane nodded. "We accept. Humanity always rises to challenges, no matter how impossible they seem." Liara's eyes softened for the briefest moment, though her pride remained. "Very well. The first trial begins at dawn tomorrow. You will face the trial of insight." That night, Kane and his team studied Violian culture and technology, trying to anticipate what the trial might involve. Though Violians were advanced, their society placed great value on logic, observation, and understanding relationships between people and nature. Kane realized that brute strength or speed would not be enough. The next morning, Liara led them to a vast hall filled with intricate machinery and holographic projections. "The trial of insight tests your understanding of patterns and consequences," she explained. "You must identify the correct sequence to stabilize the energy flow of our simulation. Fail, and the consequences are serious." Kane stepped forward confidently. "We will do our best." The trial began. Holographic energy streams flickered across the room, shifting unpredictably. Violian scholars observed silently, noting every move. Kane studied the patterns carefully, instructing his team to test small adjustments rather than rushing. Hours passed as they experimented, learned from mistakes, and adjusted their strategy. Finally, Kane noticed a pattern that seemed irregular, a sequence that repeated with a slight delay. "Try reversing that segment and synchronizing it with the main stream," he instructed. The energy stream stabilized. Lights that had flickered dangerously now glowed steadily, and the holographic projections formed a perfect network. Liara's eyes widened slightly, and even the observing scholars murmured their approval. "You have succeeded," Liara said, her tone measured. "But insight alone is not enough. The next trial will test your courage." The trial of courage was set in Violia's High Canyon region, a breathtaking landscape of cliffs, floating platforms, and energy currents. Humans were to navigate the canyon, reach the central energy nexus, and retrieve a crystal shard essential for stabilizing the planet's atmospheric shields. Many Violians had attempted the trial and failed. Kane led his team carefully, moving across narrow platforms and dodging unpredictable energy surges. The humans were slower than Virelians, but Kane emphasized observation and calculated movement. At one point, a gust of energy nearly knocked one of the engineers off a platform. Kane lunged forward, grabbing the engineer's arm just in time. Liara observed from above, her expression unreadable. She had expected fear, hesitation, or failure, but the humans pressed forward with determination, encouraging each other and adapting to every new challenge. Finally, Kane reached the central nexus. He carefully extracted the crystal shard, ensuring the energy currents remained stable. The humans had completed the trial, not through speed or raw strength, but through teamwork, courage, and careful calculation. Liara descended from her observation point. "You have shown courage," she acknowledged. "But there is one final trial, the trial of understanding. This will test whether humans can truly comprehend Virelian values, not just technology or bravery." The final trial was set in a Virelian cultural labyrinth, a sprawling complex of gardens, murals, and interactive holograms. The humans were tasked with navigating the labyrinth and solving puzzles based on Virelian history, ethics, and social customs. Each puzzle required careful thought, observation, and empathy. At first, Kane's team struggled. The Virelian concepts were unfamiliar and some puzzles seemed impossible. Kane encouraged his team to slow down, read the murals carefully, and consider the intention behind each symbol. Slowly, patterns emerged, revealing lessons about Virelian diplomacy, unity, and respect for life. As they reached the final chamber, a holographic image of Virelia's founding ancestors appeared. "To succeed," it said, "you must demonstrate understanding, not domination. Recognize the balance between logic and compassion." Kane reflected on everything they had learned. He instructed his team to approach the puzzle with humility and respect, aligning the energy nodes according to the principles of harmony they had observed throughout the labyrinth. When the nodes clicked into place, the holograms glowed warmly, signaling completion. Liara stepped forward, her usual cool demeanor replaced by genuine acknowledgement. "You have done it," she said. "Not just with skill, not just with courage, but with understanding. Humans, you have shown qualities I did not expect. Perhaps you are worthy of respect after all." Kane bowed slightly. "Respect is earned, Princess Liara, not given lightly." The princess nodded. "Indeed, but even respect is only the beginning. Trust must follow, and trust is harder to earn than skill or courage." Over the following days, Kane continued working with Virelian scholars, helping to apply the lessons learned during the trials to real-world problems. Together, they optimized energy distribution, improved transportation safety, and refined environmental systems. Kane's human team shared their methods of collaboration, showing that cooperation and innovation could solve complex problems more efficiently than rigid tradition alone. Liara observed silently, often following the humans without direct interaction. She noted their persistence, adaptability, and willingness to learn. Unlike many Virelians, humans did not see failure as shameful. They saw it as an opportunity to improve. One evening, as Kane walked through the palace gardens, Liara approached quietly. "Captain Kane," she said, "you have proven your people can understand us. You have shown courage, intelligence, and respect. Yet I cannot ignore the fact that humans are still strangers in our world." Kane smiled gently. "We will always be strangers at first, Princess. But strangers can become allies, and allies can become friends. That is the strength of humanity. We do not fear the unknown. We learn from it." Liara regarded him silently. For the first time, Kane thought he saw a flicker of admiration in her eyes. "Perhaps we will see how far your people can go," she said finally. As the night fell over Virelia, the palace spires glowed under the light of the twin moons. Kane knew that the trials had only been the beginning. There would be more challenges ahead, more tests of skill, courage, and understanding. But humanity had taken the first significant step, proving that even in a world far beyond their own, they could adapt, survive, and earn the respect of those who had once dismissed them. Liara watched from her balcony, her thoughts conflicted. Humans were different. They were unpredictable yet persistent. They were fragile yet capable of great feats. And though she would not yet accept a human as a mate, she could not deny that they had earned her cautious respect. Somewhere deep within the palace, Kane looked up at the stars. Humanity's journey among the stars was just beginning. but he felt certain that, with courage, ingenuity, and persistence, humans could rise to any challenge the universe might present. And in Violia, a princess who had once declared humans unworthy found herself quietly questioning her assumptions, wondering if perhaps humanity was stronger than she had ever imagined. The calm of Violia's twin sunsets was shattered by the roar of alarms. Captain Elias Kane had been reviewing plans for interstellar trade agreements with Princess Liara when the palace communication system blared a warning. An unknown coalition of hostile alien forces had entered Violia's sector. Their intent was clear: they would not negotiate and they would destroy anything in their path. Kane felt a chill but quickly composed himself. "Mara," he called to his lieutenant, "alert the team and the Aurora. We're going to help defend this planet." Liara's eyes narrowed, reflecting both fear and determination. "This is no simulation," she said. "They will overwhelm us if we do not act quickly. Violian shields alone are not enough." Kane nodded. "Then we combine human ingenuity with your technology. Let's turn their confidence into miscalculation." Within the hour, Kane and his team were in the command center alongside Violian military strategists. Holographic projections displayed the incoming fleet, hundreds of sleek, black ships, armed with weapons far more advanced than anything humans had encountered. The Violians had strength and speed, but Kane noticed gaps in their defensive formations. "These ships are coordinated," he observed, "but they rely on pattern-based attacks. Humans are unpredictable. We can exploit that." Liara studied him carefully. "Explain." Kane pointed to the projections. "If we split our forces into small, agile teams, we can create false targets, lure them into traps, and use your energy nets to neutralize their weapons. Our humans can operate drones independently, outside the predictable patterns your fleet assumes." "We strike where they do not expect it." Liara hesitated. "You suggest unconventional tactics, dangerous for your people." "Risk is part of survival," Kane said simply, "but our plan will reduce casualties on both sides." The princess finally nodded. "Then we act together." Humans and Violians side by side. As the hostile fleet approached, the sky over the capital erupted in flashes of light. Energy shields shimmered, and the first volleys of alien weaponry struck. Kane directed human drone units to flank the invaders while Violian ships engaged head-on. The humans' unpredictable movements confused the enemy, causing several ships to collide or misfire. Liara observed from the palace control balcony, her usual calm demeanor giving way to tense focus. Kane noticed her eyes flick toward him several times, a silent acknowledgement of the humans' effectiveness. Hours passed in a blur of action. Explosions lit the skies, and the air was thick with energy residue. Kane coordinated attacks with precise timing, predicting enemy maneuvers faster than their advanced sensors could. Human creativity turned the tide, forcing the hostile fleet to retreat in disarray. Finally, as the last enemy ship disengaged and fled, the palace erupted in cautious celebration. Citizens and Violian forces alike cheered for the heroes who had defended their home. Kane allowed himself a moment of relief, though he knew this victory was just the beginning of what would be required to secure lasting trust. Liara approached Kane as the chaos settled. "You," she began, her voice uncertain. "Humans fight not just for themselves. You risk your lives to protect others. I did not expect this." Kane smiled faintly. "Protecting others is what makes us strong, Princess. Bravery alone is not enough. Compassion and teamwork are what turn courage into something greater." Liara's gaze softened, though her pride remained intact. "Perhaps I have been wrong about humans. You are different from what I imagined." Over the following days, Kane and his team worked tirelessly alongside Violian engineers and strategists. They repaired damaged structures, optimized shield distributions, and analyzed the enemy's tactics to prevent future attacks. Kane taught the Violians to adapt, not just rely on their advanced technology, and to anticipate unconventional strategies. During one late-night session, Liara joined Kane in the control room. The palace lights reflected softly on her silver hair. "Captain Kane," she said quietly, "your people are remarkable. You adapt, you learn, and you never give up." "Perhaps there is more to humans than I understood." Kane looked at her earnestly. "Respect is earned, Princess. Humans do not ask for trust. They earn it through action. That is what we have tried to show here." Liara remained silent for a long moment, watching him. I cannot deny what you have done, she said finally. You have saved lives and taught us something valuable, but still, humans are not Virelians. You are unpredictable, and that can be dangerous. Kane nodded. Perhaps that is true, but it is also why humans survive. We do not follow patterns blindly. We adapt, we improvise, and we rise to challenges that others cannot foresee. For the first time, Liara smiled faintly. Perhaps there is hope, then, that one day humans and Virelians can work as equals. The following weeks were filled with collaboration and discovery. Kane and his team assisted Virelians in rebuilding the damaged capital, enhancing energy distribution, and improving defense protocols. The humans' willingness to learn from the Virelians while sharing their own knowledge fostered mutual respect among both species. During this time, Liara observed Kane closely. She saw how humans dealt with stress, solved problems under pressure, and found solutions where logic alone failed. Unlike Virelians, humans embraced uncertainty, turning it into opportunity. Slowly, her initial skepticism transformed into admiration, not yet trust, but recognition of human potential. One evening, Kane and Liara walked through the palace gardens, the twin moons reflecting on the crystalline fountains. Captain Kane, Liara said, her voice softer than usual, you have proven something important. Humans are not weak and they are not to be underestimated. Perhaps they can become more than allies. Kane nodded. We only hope to earn the respect and trust of your people. That is enough for us. Liara stopped and regarded him. You have shown courage, ingenuity, and compassion. These are qualities that Virelians value deeply, but earning trust, that is a longer journey. I understand, Kane replied. Trust cannot be given. It must be earned, and humanity is willing to prove itself every step of the way. For the first time, Liara allowed herself to consider a future where humans were not just visitors, but partners. Though she would not yet accept a human as a mate, she could not deny that their courage, intelligence, and determination had impressed her, and forced her to reconsider her assumptions. As the palace lights glowed under the twin moons, Kane looked up at the stars. Humanity had faced its first interstellar crisis, adapted, and survived. And in doing so, they had begun to change the mind of a princess who had once declared humans unworthy. Liara, standing nearby, remained silent. But in her heart, the seeds of respect and curiosity had taken root. She understood that humans were different, unpredictable, and sometimes reckless, but they were also capable of great bravery, deep compassion, and extraordinary ingenuity. And though the galaxy was vast, full of unknown threats, Kane knew one truth. Humanity was ready to rise, no matter the challenges ahead. The revelation was clear. Humans were not fragile. They were resilient, resourceful, and capable of forging bonds that could endure even the harshest trials of the universe. In the distance, the remains of the hostile fleet streaked through space, a reminder that danger was never far. But Kane and his team stood ready, not just to defend Virelia, but to demonstrate the enduring strength of humanity, and to prove that humans could stand as equals among the stars. And for Princess Liara, the revelation was just as profound. Humans were no longer strangers. They were a force to be respected, a people capable of extraordinary feats and perhaps worthy of her cautious admiration. The twin suns of Virelia rose over the capital, casting golden light across the crystal spires. Captain Elias Kane stood on the observation deck of the palace, scanning the skies with the Virelian command team. The calm from the previous crisis had ended. Intelligence reports indicated that the hostile alien coalition was regrouping and preparing a final assault on Virelia. This would be the ultimate test, not only of humanity's ingenuity, but also of the fragile alliance that had begun to form between humans and Virelians. Princess Liara approached silently. Her silver hair caught the sunlight, and her icy blue eyes were filled with determination. Captain Kane, she said, this will be the true test. Can humans fight alongside us and protect Virelia? Can you prove that your people are not just clever, but trustworthy? Kane straightened. We've come this far, Princess. Humanity thrives when faced with impossible odds. We will not fail. The Virelian and human fleets prepared for battle. Hundreds of ships lined the orbital grids, energy shields humming as they powered up. Kane's human engineers coordinated drone swarms to flank enemy formations, while Virelian ships readied precise strikes. Both species studied one another, learning to combine their strengths into a single, formidable force. Liara watched closely, impressed by Kane's calm and methodical approach. She had witnessed humans, courage and ingenuity in trials and crises, but this was different. This was war. Lives would be lost, and failure could mean the end of Violia. The enemy fleet emerged from the void, their ships sleek and black, weapons charged and ready. At first, the Violians hesitated, unsure how to respond to human strategies. Kane, sensing the uncertainty, took control of the joint command. "Divide your focus," he instructed. "Humans will create unpredictable patterns. Use your energy nets to protect civilians. Target their weapons first. We strike together, not alone." Liara nodded, allowing Kane's plan to guide the Violian forces. The battle erupted in a spectacular display of light and motion. Energy beams streaked across the sky, drones darted like swarms of fireflies, and ships twisted in impossible formations. Kane coordinated the humans' drones with precision, creating distractions and openings for the Violian fleet to strike. At one critical moment, a large enemy vessel breached the city's outer shield. Liara's eyes widened in alarm. Kane immediately deployed a human drone swarm to intercept, while Violian fighters engaged the enemy. The collaboration worked seamlessly. Humans predicted and redirected enemy fire, while Violians delivered powerful counterattacks. Liara realized something profound. Humans did not merely fight. They adapted, improvised, and protected not just themselves, but everyone around them. Their courage was intertwined with strategy, their ingenuity with care. For the first time, she truly understood the strength of their species. Hours passed in tense combat. The enemy fleet faltered as their coordinated attacks were disrupted repeatedly by human unpredictability. Kane worked tirelessly, moving between command posts, coordinating attacks, and making split-second decisions. Finally, the hostile fleet, battered and confused, began to retreat. Kane and Liara watched as the remaining enemy ships fled into the void, leaving Violia safe once again. The city below erupted in cheers, and the Violian people celebrated their defenders. In the aftermath, Kane and his team helped Violians repair damaged infrastructure, optimize energy grids, and strengthen defenses for the future. But more than the physical repairs, they had forged something deeper: trust. Humans and Violians had proven they could work together, not as strangers, but as partners. Liara approached Kane as they surveyed the repairs. "Captain Kane," she said, her voice quiet but steady, "you and your people have done more than I expected. You have shown courage, intelligence, and a willingness to protect others, even those who once doubted you. Perhaps humans are worthy of respect after all." Kane bowed slightly. "Respect is earned, Princess Liara. We do not ask for it, we demonstrate it through our actions. Humanity will continue to prove itself, every day it is given the chance." Liara studied him silently. "You have changed my perspective, not just about humans, but about cooperation, courage, and what it means to protect others. Today, I see that humans can be true allies." Kane nodded. "We are ready to stand with Violia, Princess, not as strangers, not as subordinates, but as equals." For the first time, Liara allowed herself a genuine smile. "Then let us begin this new era together." Over the next few weeks, humans and Violians worked side by side to rebuild and strengthen the planet. Kane's team taught Violian engineers methods of collaboration that emphasized creativity and adaptability, while learning from the Violians advanced technology. The partnership blossomed, and mutual respect grew among both peoples. Liara observed closely, often joining the humans in discussions and planning sessions. She noted how their resilience, quick thinking, and willingness to take risks complemented Violian precision and discipline. Humans did not simply follow orders. They contributed ideas, adapted strategies, and inspired others to rise above fear. One evening, Kane and Liara walked through the palace gardens, now restored and glowing with alien flora. "Princess Liara," Kane said, "humans have proven that we can survive and thrive even in worlds beyond our own. But the greatest strength is not technology or speed. It is our spirit, our courage, and our willingness to protect one another." Liara nodded, her gaze softening. "You have shown that humans are not weak, Captain. You are brave, intelligent, and honorable. Perhaps one day we will see just how far your species can go." Kane smiled. "We hope to continue earning your trust and respect. Humanity has much to learn, but we also have much to offer." The princess walked silently for a moment, then spoke quietly. "You have changed the way I see your people. I cannot deny it. Humans are capable of greatness, perhaps even greatness that rivals our own. That is a revelation I did not expect. Kane looked at her, sensing the depth of her words. We do not seek to replace or surpass. We only seek to prove that humanity belongs among the stars, and that we can stand as equals, not as inferiors. Liara studied him thoughtfully. You have proven that courage, ingenuity, and compassion can overcome even the most impossible challenges. Humans are worthy. The palace lights reflected on the crystal fountains as Kane and Liara continued their walk. For the first time, a bridge of understanding had been built, not just between humans and Virelians, but between their hearts and minds. Weeks turned into months. Humans continued to live on Virelia, working with Virelian engineers, scholars, and military strategists. Trade agreements were signed, joint research projects began, and cultural exchanges flourished. Kane and his team became symbols of humanity's resilience, ingenuity, and capacity for collaboration. Liara observed quietly, her pride in Virelia now intertwined with respect for humanity. Though she had once declared she would never accept a human as her mate, she had come to recognize that humans possessed qualities that could not be measured by tradition or prejudice alone. One evening, standing atop the highest spire of the palace, Liara spoke to Kane. Captain Kane, you have proven that humans are not merely capable of survival. They are capable of inspiring, of leading, and of earning respect in worlds far beyond their own. I am grateful for your presence here. Kane bowed respectfully. Thank you, Princess Liara. Humanity will continue to stand with Virelia to protect it and to honor the trust you have shown us. That is our promise. The twin moons rose over the palace, casting silver light across the gardens and spires. Kane knew that humanity had secured more than respect. They had secured a place among the stars and in the hearts of a people who had once dismissed them. Liara looked at the stars, her heart lighter than it had been in centuries. Humans were different, unpredictable, and at times reckless. But they were also brave, compassionate, and resilient, and in that she saw a future filled with possibilities, not just for Virelia, but for the galaxy itself. The story of humanity on Virelia was far from over, but one truth had been established. Humans could rise to any challenge, adapt to any world, and forge bonds that would endure across time and space. In the end, the princess who had once declared humans unworthy had discovered something profound. Strength is not measured by birthright or tradition, but by courage, ingenuity, and the willingness to stand for what is right. And humanity, in all its imperfection and brilliance, had proven itself worthy. The galaxy stretched endlessly beyond the palace walls, full of danger and wonder. But Kane and his team, along with the Virelians, stood ready, united, strong, and prepared for whatever the universe might bring. And Princess Liara, once doubtful, now looked toward the stars with hope, respect, and a cautious admiration for a species she had once underestimated: humanity.